my goal is to give you some financial literacy, to bring you some value, so that you have something to take home with you in order to protect your wealth and safeguard your finances. So I just talked to a wonderful lady, a German lady outside here a couple of minutes before, and she said she's thinking about starting to travel or maybe applying a digital nomad lifestyle. And she said, and I think, I'm from Austria, she's from Germany, so we are very aware of pitfalls, and we want to have a plan in place before we start doing things. We want to know the outcome and so on and so forth. And so I think that's very interesting. People are different. Some people jump on the bandwagon and they go, yeah, I'm good, I like the freedom, I don't know what I'm doing next week, how can I prepare for the future 5 years out, I don't know what I'm doing in 5 years, and similar stories. So it's just important to know there are a few maybe low probability unexpected events. However, they might have a high impact on your financial situation. And I just want to point this out. I don't want to spread anxiety or anything like this, but I want to create awareness. I want you to zoom out, to see the situation holistically, and to figure out a plan beforehand. So, and that's basically the solution is proactive, okay? If something happens, it's too late to act, okay? If you go to the insurance and say, oh, I would like to buy an insurance, by the way, I broke my leg last week, can you take over the bills? It's probably not working out in your favor, okay? So proactive is the important thing. I know, it's not exactly a sexy topic here, and we don't want to pay taxes, we don't want to take care about these kind of things, but I have a question to you guys. Who of you is taking care of your health? Who of you maybe does sport, eats healthy, meditates, or does some yoga? Can I see the hands? Yeah, this is, I think, 90%. I think maybe almost all hands went up, okay? And here comes the second question. How many of you take as much time for your financial health as you put in your physical health? Oh, wow, I see. We have a few, maybe 30%. Okay, good. That's a good sign. So, it's okay, we don't want to take care about these topics. However, a little time puts you, it's like an airplane. When an airplane starts, the takeoff takes the most energy. It takes the most fuel when it starts. But once it's flying and keep up in the air, it takes much less effort. It takes much less fuel. And it's the same almost to any topic in our life. If we hear topics the first time, we see a big hurdle. If you hear about taxes and regulations, it seems like a mountain you'll never climb, But as soon as you spend a little bit of time, you will figure things out and it becomes easier over time. And all I'm asking you is to put some effort, put some attention, get yourself sorted, and you will be way better off in the future. But what are the crucial aspects? What are the crucial points that we should look after, according to my opinion? And I think, ultimately it's maybe 4 or 5 topics that are really crucial. And with crucial, I mean breaking the bank or being unlawful and risking fines or whatever crime things. And so if you look at the top 6, maybe, or top 5, insurance and taxes. So I think taxes also scare me from Nomad native teams, study of native teams. He will have a panel here later today. He will go deeper into the taxes, tax planning topics. So if you're interested in that, that's great for having a deep dive. Insurance and taxes usually, okay, these are different topics, but usually they go hand in hand. So if you look at one, also look at the other. And financial education, and especially also what Martin said this morning, investments. Make a plan, reach out to people who know what they're talking about, and make a plan. That's all about. Okay, if you want to take a photo or notes, these are maybe the basic pillars you should get right in order to protect your wealth and have a sound financial future. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, that's nice to know, but where to start, right? I think the first question, where to get the information. The source, the source is where we source our information. It's so crucial. Like people tell me, oh, I have heard, a friend told me, I read an article, generic information, be very aware. Because like our fingerprints, we are unique, our situation is unique, and you must be sure that you get specific information that suits your situation and that works for you. What works for your friend might not work for you at all. So be very, very cautious about that. Also, for instance, Christoph Heuermann. Who here knows Christoph Heuermann? Yeah? A few? Very good. So he's an advocate for not paying taxes at all, which is fine. But keep in mind, he's a lawyer. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. You understand? If you're not a lawyer, if you're not like him, it's very tricky to do the same like him, but not being aware of the pitfalls. You don't want to step into the next pitfall coming up. You want to be aware of what's going on. And yeah, you have to dig in a little bit. Maybe half an hour a day for 2 weeks and you're sorted. It doesn't take much time or much effort, but get your sources, get the information that suits you. Unlike Christoph, I have a different opinion. I think it's much easier to be tax resident somewhere. It just takes away, it puts me at ease, okay? I do it somewhere, I do my paper trail, I do things properly, and I can sleep well at night. I don't have to fear that any government will come to me at some point and say, hey, Ruben, you owe us 5 or 6 figures or something like this. Okay, this is the important thing. I want you to have the freedom, to live the freedom, to live this exciting lives you're after, but get the basics in, okay? A lot of time also people avoid paying for consultation, and I understand, of course, it's a pain, people want money to, I understand. But keep in mind, paying a consultation, maybe 500 euros, may save you 50,000 euros in the future or something like that. So if you put in 500, that's a good deal. You understand what I'm saying? So when it comes to wealth protection, it's proactive, getting the things right. Of course, 5 years ago was the best time to start. The second best time to start is now, okay? Is this really there's really something you should be very aware of. Generic information, okay? Nowadays with the AI creating all the nonsense and the good things and whatnot, can we really trust the internet anymore? The information you get, I don't know, okay? You're responsible, we are all responsible for our own lives. And generic information just doesn't work for most of us, okay? So be aware of this. Especially, we are people, we travel a lot, we go from country to country every month, 2 months, whatever. We step into regulations and countries. And who of you really takes care and looks after all these regulations? People come to me and say, hey, Uwe, I found out in South Africa they changed the law. I need to do this very quickly, otherwise I'm in trouble. And, these kind of things I want you to be aware of. I want you to look into this beforehand and then have be at ease, live a free life. Okay, that's the message I want to convey here. Yeah, and legal experts. It's very, very important to understand. Usually, most accountants they know how things work out. Accountants usually will be able to tell you, hey, do this, don't do that, and so on and so forth. And I would go to an accountant first. Usually that's also the more affordable option, versus going to a lawyer, which is usually the more cost-intensive option. However, in any case, either way, you have to figure out what is the right thing for your situation. Also, the basis of everything are laws, okay? The underlying principles are laws, regulations, rules, okay? So, and this can be interpreted in different ways. So you go to one accountant, he might tell you something, you go to another accountant and he might tell you a slightly different story, okay? Important to know is there is a large gray area on the scale, and somewhat we are all in a gray area in one way or another. Some more on the white section and some more on the darker section. So just be aware of it. There is no perfect solution. Ask different people, and then make a decision how to go forward with. James before, he touched on a couple of those subjects, and I think, in principle it's very simple. They just want our money, right? So, all these governments, they would like you to pay taxes, okay? So, it's very simple. And in one way or another, they sit on the longer lever. So, somehow we have to comply or find the best way for us. And just be aware. Educate yourself. The countries you visit, Spain or Thailand, you may be tax resident already when you open your laptop. So just be aware of the things that might be very expensive or break the bank later on. Okay? Yeah, these are the risks. Breaking our banks with the risks, okay? I just put here a couple of statements, some considerations you can take into account. However, I think the more important thing is, of course, protect your intellectual property and contracts and, having things written out rather than verbal and so on and so forth. I think, staying updated. Once you put your head around all these topics, it's much easier, to revise things in 1 year, what has changed, a quick update. It may take you half a day or a day or so. However, getting the things in place initially might take a bit more effort, okay? I think this is one of the most important points. Whenever you deal with legal stuff in one way or another, whether it's your finances, whether it's your residency, fiscal residency, whatever, verbal doesn't mean anything. If somebody told you on the phone, what does it mean? How do you refer back to later when push comes to shove, And gather evidence, gather emails, get things written, contracts, something that you can refer to, have evidence, store this stuff for long term. As Martin said earlier, investment is for long term. We expect to live, we aiming for longevity and so on and so forth. So make sure these things are in a proper place, and you can refer back to them later on. Okay? If an accountant gives an advice, if he is an accredited accountant, and he gives you maybe, for instance, a wrong advice, he's legally responsible, you know. But if you get him only on a phone call, then, you know, what's the evidence, right? So it's important to think about these things through and think about it in long term, okay? That's important.